US Vice President JD Vance is in Jerusalem amid the fragile Gaza ceasefire. Earlier today, he met Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Vance and Second Lady Usha Vance received a ceremonial welcome in Jerusalem before their high-stakes interaction. Vance said he was excited to sit across from Netanyahu to further work on the Gaza peace plan. The US Vice President said the next task is to disarm Hamas and rebuild Gaza.
Thanks so much for having us here. It's nice to meet you.
Hello. So nice to see you. Yes, thanks for having us. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Very nice to meet you.
Well, Vance landed in Tel Aviv on Tuesday. Hours later, the US Vice President voiced what he called great optimism that the Gaza ceasefire will continue to hold. Vance is also accompanied by US Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, during this Israel visit. The US Vice President said the Gaza ceasefire would require constant monitoring and supervision. But he called the progress so far something both Israel and the US should be proud of.
Gives me great optimism the ceasefire is going to hold. And if we get from where we were a week ago to a long-term durable peace between Israel and Gaza, there are going to be hills and valleys. There are going to be moments where it looks like things aren't going particularly well. But given that, and given the history of conflict, I think that everybody should be proud of where we are today.
Egypt's intelligence chief also met the Israeli Prime Minister yesterday. Egypt has hosted multiple rounds of mediation between Israel and Hamas, a process which finally culminated into a Trump-backed ceasefire plan at Sharm el-Sheikh earlier this month. Israel said the two sides discussed advancing the Gaza ceasefire as well as other regional issues. The developments follow President Donald Trump's stern warning to Hamas on Monday. Trump warned that US allies in the region were prepared to go into Gaza with a heavy force if the group failed to comply with the truce. In Israel, while Vance echoed Trump's firmness, he sought to temper Prime Minister Netanyahu's demands for a firm disarmament deadline for Hamas. Opening a joint US-Israel Civil Military Coordination Center in southern Israel, he said Washington would not set any explicit timeline, calling the process difficult but ongoing. He also clarified that US troops will not be deployed inside Gaza, though American forces will be part of a broader coordination and reconstruction effort.
We know that Hamas has to comply with the deal, and if Hamas doesn't comply with the deal, very bad things are going to happen. But I'm not going to do what the President of the United States has thus far refused to do, which is put an explicit deadline on it, because a lot of this stuff is difficult.
Despite diplomatic optimism, violence has threatened to unravel this ceasefire. On Sunday, 2 Israeli soldiers were killed in Gaza, triggering a wave of Israeli airstrikes that Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry says killed 45 Palestinians. Israel blames Hamas for breaching the truce, though the group denies the claim, insisting it remains committed to the agreement. But the militant group has resisted disarmament. At the same time, Hamas has been reasserting control in Gaza through methods such as public executions and clashing with armed clans. Under the US-brokered ceasefire, Hamas is required to return all surviving hostages, as well as the bodies of Israeli hostages killed during earlier fighting. Israel has confirmed the release of all living hostages, and earlier today, Israel said that the remains of 2 more hostages had been identified, bringing the total to 15 out of 28 promised recoveries. Meanwhile, the Red Cross said it had facilitated the transfer of 165 Palestinian bodies from Israel back to Gaza as part of this same deal. As Vice President JD Vance meets Israeli leaders in Jerusalem, both Washington and Tel Aviv appear determined to keep the truce on track, even as skepticism grows about Hamas's next move and whether this fragile calm can truly endure.
Want the facts?
The latest developments?
News that gets straight to the point.
Well, we've got all three just for you. This is Firstpost Live, a brand new show, your window into what really matters.
Don't miss it.